Hello. Happy Sunday again. Okay, so here we are. I last week told you a story about a neighbor that I had a conversation with. It was a political conversation. We're on opposing sides, and it was a really interesting story, really interesting connection that I had with her. I didn't really tell you the whole story though. I didn't tell you how it ended because it ended actually in not well, it ended with us saying we love each other, but right before that was a really sort of racist, gross piece. I didn't talk about that. And as I went through this week, I sort of thought, gosh, that story was good, but it really wasn't the whole story. Okay, so today I'm not going to tell you the rest of the story. Maybe I'll tell you the rest of the story sometime. But it got me thinking about how there isn't always joy in every moment, right? Like every joy doesn't have moment. Yes, joy appears in improbable places, but there are times in our lives when there just isn't joy there. So um, I also, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent here, but I also almost told you about my day yesterday because yesterday I had an amazing day on the lake with my sister and her fiance and her son and his two kids, and we had an amazing day. And I'm going to talk about that another day as well. But anyways, I digress. I'm back to my point. Sorry, I ramble and I go off on tangents. But joy isn't always there. So I'm going to tell you a story about a client that I met years ago. So years ago, I had this listing appointment. And one thing you have to know about me, I'm a real estate agent for those of you that don't know. Most of you know. I always said that I would never work with people um, just to make a paycheck. Like I wasn't going to have a client that was miserable and awful or that I just didn't like just to get paid. I always said that, right? That was my sort of priority. So fast forward, I've been in real estate a few years and I go to this listing appointment and it's an Iranian couple who are selling their house and moving back to Iran. And I'm super excited because this is a huge adventure for them. And they've been living in the United States for a while, but they want to go back to Iran and try it and see how that goes and whatever. So we're sitting at the table, and it was a really odd experience anyway because culturally we're very different. He and I sat at the table, did all of the discussion. His wife would go downstairs and then she would come up when she needed to sign something. But it was a really interesting experience, but just different. It was out of my comfort zone, right? Something I'm not used to. But long story short, we got the listing contract signed, and somehow, some way, I don't know how this happened. This was back when marriage equality for same-sex couples was in the news quite a bit. I don't bring up politics with clients, especially clients that I've just met, right? So somehow this came up, and he was ranting and raving about how, this is absolutely wrong. Same-sex couples should not be allowed to marry. This is against God, and on and on. And he just was rambling, and I'm listening, and I'm thinking, holy crap. Okay, so I think most of you know who are watching, I'm gay, right? So I'm standing here going, holy crap, this guy doesn't want me to have equal rights. And I'm like thinking about this thing that I said, like, I don't want to work with people with whom I'm not aligned and connected and right. And so here I am. I'm going to take this listing contract. I'm going to make money, but he wants me to have second class status. So I'm like, why am I doing this? Should I just rip up this contract and walk away? I thought about it in my head quickly, and I came up with what I thought was just the most brilliant reply to his rant, right? I just looked at him and I said, that's what's really great about the United States, right? You get to have one opinion, and I might have a different opinion, but we all live together and respect our differences. And I thought, wow, where did that come from? I'm like, holy crap, that's pretty good. That's pretty fast thinking, right? As soon as I stopped talking, he was like, absolutely not. No. Oh, no. That is a moment I will never, ever forget. So I always say, people don't remember days, they remember moments. That's a moment I will never, ever forget. I walked out of there thinking I shouldn't take this. I remember my friend Karen saying to me, take his money. He's an idiot. He doesn't, he's living in the past, blah, blah, blah. Maybe I moved forward a little bit with that. But what happened was they went to Iran to find a place to live. We got an offer on his house. I ended up, back in that day, like I had Vonage, so we were talking on the phone. He was in Iran, and we were negotiating this deal. He signed it electronically. I really liked him. that was what was so bizarre. That was the thing that became really crazy for me. I took the contract reluctantly, right? I took that listing reluctantly. Working with him, I really liked this guy. Like, absolutely had this connection to him, really appreciated who he was as a human being and as a person. Moves away, moves to Iran. We sold his house. And 3-4 years later, I get a phone call one day. Pick up the phone. It's him. He's moved back to the United States of America, and he wants help finding a new place to live. So again, see, this makes me emotional. These are the moments of joy, people, that we have to live for. That was the most improbable joy that I could ever experience, right? This is a man who wants me to have second-class citizenship, right? We don't agree, but there's something about him that I like. And he still, he maybe doesn't know I'm a big homo, I don't know, but he likes me. I like him. He called me to help him find his family a new home because he's back in the United States of America. So I'm just telling you, this kind of goes along with last week's, right? Joy doesn't always happen exactly when you want it to, right? It didn't happen for me in that moment when I realized that I was going to be working with a guy who deemed me a second-class citizen, right? But I got to know him because I took that chance and I took the opportunity. I got to know him. And years later, he came back and I got to help him try to find a new place to live. So I don't know. I hope you guys can see the value in that. And I hope that you have an amazing, wonderful week as you move into this next week, because I'm going to be at the lake this week. I'm taking some time off. So hope you're well. Love to all of you, and keep looking for that joy.